We all had that one kid in our class who would answer even before the teacher finishes the question. The one who carries 5 pens and 2 backups and asks for extra homework. The one who says, "I'm surprised the test was so easy," and actually means it when you're just trying for a pass. That annoying kid is me. Now, no shame here. Full-time nerd, permanent front row seat. I can be sad, depressed, overwhelmed, but I cannot have a bad grade. Since school, I've been placed at top of my classes. I've tried to win every possible award, dance, debate, even art competitions. I was the elected student body president of my high school and have made it to the dean's list every semester at the university. When people look at my journey, they often assume that I am just an overachiever. But I promise you, this is not overachieving. This is dreaming with my whole soul. I dream big because I carry my mother's legacy. My mother was once a brilliant student, curious, thoughtful, always hungry to learn more. She wanted to become a professor, to spend her life in books and ideas. She grew up in a small town in India where there were no colleges nearby. And even if there were, it wouldn't have mattered. The social contract didn't expect women to become doctors, professors, or even make their own decisions. It expected them to follow one path, the only path, to become housewives, to stay at home and take care of large joint families where the power resided with the men, especially the older ones, while the rest followed in silence. So when my mother expressed that she wanted to continue her education, she was not just asking to go to college. She was asking for something radical. She was asking her family to break the social contract. She had just graduated from high school, and one morning, while serving tea to her uncles, she gathered courage to speak just one sentence. I want to go to college. The air changed right away. Her father's eyes narrowed in rage and warning. Her uncle said, "What is this nonsense? Do you want to bring shame to family's name?" She tried to speak. "Be quiet or leave the house." She gave up. But that was not enough. Her will made the men angry. So her marriage was arranged to my father, a tighter, a louder contract to restrain her. That's what happens when you defy. And truth be told, she wasn't alone. In every city, in every village, in every house in India, there are girls with their dreams tucked away quietly in between chores and compromises. It wasn't just my mother's family, it was the system. Silent rules passed down through traditions where the system said and the contract stated, a woman's place is not hers to be chosen. When I was born, everyone expected a son. My older sister was already there, and having 2 daughters in India is not a cause of celebration. Girls are seen as burden, raised only to be given away. People didn't say congratulations. They said, maybe next time. Some just didn't say anything at all. But my parents chose differently. My parents chose to invest in our education, my mother with her broken dreams, and my father, inspired by her will, decided to send us to a boarding school. But they were met with the same social contract, a lot of anger, a lot of criticism, and then it was decided that our mother was to move with my sister and I to a bigger city, to raise us, to watch over us, while my father stayed behind to support the family business and to support us financially. We moved to a new city with my mom where she didn't know anyone, just 2 daughters, 1 small apartment, and big dreams. And on nights when lights went off, she sat there alone carrying the weight of it all so we could have our freedom. Knowing this always inspired me to carry my mother's legacy. Years later, I found myself in a room with my uncle sitting on his sofa on one side, my father on the other, and I standing in between them, looking at my father who was staring at the floor. My mother was outside the room secretly listening to the conversation as my uncle said, "How dare you apply to the colleges abroad? What do you think of yourself? You think you can do this alone?" I said, "If other boys in the family can, I can too." "Look at your aunts. They're happy. They're settled. You think you're special? You are just spoiled. Enough." As tears rolled down my cheeks, I heard my mother's sobs from outside. I stood there in silence, looking at my father who was still staring at the floor. And when he finally looked up, he said, "Ananya, leave." I did. I joined my mother in her corner, and from there we watched as my father stood up, looked at my uncles and said, "I have never disobeyed this family before, but I've seen her work hard. I've seen her wake up at 6 and go to bed at 12. I've seen her take her SATs, write her college applications, take her Indian exams, and manage her student body responsibilities. And I thought she would give up. But it's too late now, and it might be the worst mistake of my life, but she is going to go." In that moment, my mother rushed and stood beside him, quietly supporting him. I don't know what was in that room that day. Was it my father's male authority rising, or my mother's powerful will whispering, "Not again"? I remember my last day in India before moving here. All my uncles came and told me they were proud of me. All my cousins cheered me on, and my parents refused to engage in anything other than packing my bags. There are times when I find myself alone here, when I feel like everything is going wrong. And in those moments, I think about my parents, their love, their courage that broke the social contract that once contained my mother. It's not the food and clothes they packed in my bag. It's their support that keeps me strong, that keeps me going. And sure, you can call me a nerd, because it's a privilege for somebody like me to be called a nerd. Because with every page I turn and every test I ace is a freedom my parents fought for. 1 month from now, as I walk across the stage, it just wouldn't be for my graduation. It would be for my father's support, for my mother's legacy, for every girl who was once silenced, and for every girl who is still waiting to be seen. My parents carried the weight of unbalanced social contracts that offered freedom to some and silence to others. And they still handed me something so whole. They didn't just give me life, they gave me possibilities. And that is what the social contract is to me. It's not just about what you inherit, it's about what you choose to pass on. So let this story be your reminder that we all hold power to pass on something. Leave behind more freedom than you were ever given. Give more support than you ever had, and offer more kindness than this world ever offered you. Because whatever you choose to pass on will become the world somebody else will begin in.